To me, enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us, bring us down, bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us, bring us down, bring us down. Enough is enough. You won't bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't. Enough is enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to Indie Wrestling Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host, as always, the queen of the indies, Tiffany, and it's only fair after 3 months of not being around, I had to bring back, one of my favorite people in the world, Gabby Forza, Gnomie, our homie. What's going on?
I am excited to be back on this podcast almost a year later.
I know. It's crazy. I looked it up yesterday, and I was like, oh, wow. I was like, our interview was September 4th. So, literally,
like
a year to the T, and so much has happened. That's so crazy. So, guys, please, I know it's early, share the stream. If you guys got questions, feel free, drop it into the chat. I'll be more, we really appreciate that. So I already see a whole bunch of sharing it. I see Sierra's in the chat. What's going on?
Hi, Sierra.
So, so like I said, it's been almost like a year since you've been here. So describe to us how the last year has been for you.
Absolutely insane. Like, I remember last time talking to you about like my debut and how exciting that was, and I was still talking about football because I had just finished football season, and now a year later, wrestling has like gotten so busy and overwhelming in the best way. Like, I can't even believe all the places I've been, debuted at, and got to wrestle for. I've had so many dream opponents since then. Like, crazy year it's been. And you were there for most of it. Obviously.
Yes, it's so
way.
awesome. Like, I can't believe that. Like, I've, watching your debut match and to like see you, whether I'm physically in the buildings, whether you see me, you've seen like the multiple screens that I post up that I'm watching like on TV, the laptop, the phone, I try to support everybody, so it's really cool, and I'm like so excited for you to like come back and like share this story pretty much with all of us. So let's start from like the heart. Let's start like Creative Pro pretty much. So we pretty much just had the 10-year anniversary at Creative Pro, which is wild, definitely insane. You were crowned the first women's champion. So tell us, like, emotions must have been going like through a lot.
Yeah.
So tell us your experience.
I mean, in the realm of Creative Pro and like the journey it's been to get to the 10-year anniversary, which like a year ago I would have just been excited to have been on that show. Instead, I had a women's championship match crowning the inaugural champion, and then I won. So it's like, it was just crazy to feel like in that position, given that opportunity. And then it's also like, it was my first championship ever, and it's my school's first ever champion. So like a lot of people that were talking about it and how like historical it was, it like really helped me kind of realize how like important it was. Now I'm like part of that history too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I really can't believe it sometimes. Actually, I still can't believe it. But I'm staring at my championship belt over there and I'm like, yeah, it's still real. That really happened, and I'm their first ever champion. And I actually, it's so funny, not good, but I haven't defended it yet at all. But I also have been hurt a little bit, so on the next Creator Pro show, it was already announced I'll be at um in a 6-man tag match against Chris Statlander, VSK, and like Eric James, Adrenaline Express with the Iron Savages. So that is like, that's like a championship match to me because all of those people are so incredible and I'm always the newest person in those scenarios. So I just get so lucky with like the people I'm surrounded by and the people that support me. Like Chris Statlander was like my 10th match, my 11th match, something like that. And it was another 6-man tag match like against Brian Myers and Pat Buck, and that was October last year. And now I'm in a very similar scenario, which is just unbelievable. I'm so excited. I just get to learn from the best all the time and supported by the best all the time.
Yeah, I think also too it was like really cool, like you win the championship belt, so like that had to be like a bunch of emotions too, that you have all the fans like running to you, want to take photos with you with the belt. Like I had to have it. I had my pic too with you, but like, that's gonna be just like a big moment alone, like for you to like take that all in.
Yeah, I mean, I just never thought I would be that person or be that wrestler, so the surprises are very welcome. I just can't believe it. I'm like, I just thought I'd be, another female wrestler, but instead I'm the first ever women's champion of Creator Pro, which is like an amazing school with so many amazing wrestlers that came out of it, and it's an honor to be there and be like able to represent them like that. And I hope I make them proud, but
you make a bunch of us proud over here. We're here for you, definitely. Oh man, there's a bunch of people into the chat. Please share the stream. Let's get some more people in here. So let me give some love in this chat that's going on. John's in here. He goes, 2 of my absolute favorite people in the independents. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Zach's in the chat. He goes, hello, friends. Everything Pro Wrestling's in the chat. He said, welcome back, Tiff. Shout out to the homie Gnomie.
Let's go.
Sierra says, big gnome match. Temple's Learning Tree says, hey guys, I hope you have your 5-day today. I will. What's up? Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day too. So, all right. So I want to talk about a little special, this I know was special because you and me had talked about this after a Cap TV show. So Beyond Wrestling, they do amazing things. You had a match with Aaron Rourke. And like I said, you and me talked about this outside Cap TV and you were like, this is such a special match for you. So if you guys haven't watched it, go on IWTV, go check it out. Really amazing match. So talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, even like, this is completely random, basically, where it was Aaron Rourke was like a dream opponent for me from the moment I started wrestling. I was like, if I had a dream opponent, it would be Aaron Rourke, Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale. So that was like my order. And Aaron Rourke came back to Creator Pro after moving away. So I actually got to train under him for a little bit, which is amazing. That was like a dream for me. Not just facing him in the ring, but the fact that we're both like homegrown Creator Pro people from Long Island. We also grew up together, so we have a backstory that at Limitless Wrestling in Maine, where he is a big name there, and I had just debuted, and they put us together to team. So I was like, that was in December, I didn't get to face him as an opponent yet, but I was like, I get to share the ring with him. That's so exciting. Then at Cat TV, I got to face him like for a second in a 6-man tag setting. I was like, I'm going to count that as a match. Like, checking that off as my dream opponent. Okay. But obviously, once that happens, I'm like that much closer to a singles match with Aaron Rourke, which is the dream, the goal. And it finally happened at Beyond Wrestling. So it's just cool to me that at Creative Pro is where it all started. I got to face him on Cut TV a little bit. I got to team with him also at Limitless Wrestling. And they actually they didn't even know our backstory that we grew up playing football together. So they were super interested in that story after we had teamed together, and we told them that story, and it's really sweet, and it's on YouTube also with Limitless Wrestling. And then at Beyond Wrestling, 3-match singles competition at Ralph Steiner, and it was definitely my favorite match ever. It was super, super fun. And we really hit each other very, very hard. So it's a hard-hitting match, but he is very springy and strong and explosive, and I cried so much after that match.
Aww.
I was like, oh my god, I was trying to not just get through it, I was like trying to live in the moment and be like, this is everything I dreamed it would be. And then after the match, everything went great. But I confessed to him, I was like, you were not only my dream opponent, you were my Super Bowl. You were
Aww.
That was it for me.
Aww.
So for me, that was the biggest deal ever. So big. And that was in June. So it was Pride Month. I was we were the queer match on the show. It was very, very sweet. It was everything I could ever want to do.
I love that. I love that so much. So now it has to happen at Cap.
That's I love that. It's tough when we're both champions though, because
yeah.
Well, is he gonna become the women's champion? No.
Oh, that would be interesting though. That would be fun. On a Cap TV though, because I feel it's more relaxed, so you can kind of do these matches and stuff, even if it's not for the championship. So something like this, I could see it at Cap TV, and it would be so over. Even if there's 50 people watching the Cap TVs.
That's all I would ever want. I love wrestling Aaron Rourke. He's such everyone says it, everyone knows it, but he's an incredible wrestler. He's getting all these amazing opportunities, and then when you get to face someone like that has been in the ring with signed talent, has been on AEW, deserves to be other places, but he's just going to go everywhere and be amazing wherever he goes. And then sharing the ring with him is just I was I hope I soaked up as much of that as I can.
I love that. I love that. We're going to have Aaron back onto the podcast one of these days. So I am slowly coming back into podcast land, guys. So, we have to have Aaron come back. We love him. He's just another one, too, that it's I've watched him grow insanely, so that's you,
crazy.
too. That's you, too. So, 5 years from now, it's just going to be crazy, where you're going to be at. So, you touch base a little bit about Limitless. So let's talk about, shout out to Randy. We love Randy over here. Vacation Cup Land. Oh my God. How crazy. You got to be part, this is such this is their WrestleMania of Limitless or whatever that. And it went into a bigger venue, which was such a big deal. Unfortunately, Billy Starks had to pull off. You wrestled Davian, and then you got to be in the main event. So talk to us about that.
It was the craziest experience. I don't think I'll even do justice describing it as someone that was there, living it, because it still hasn't set in, because the moment we got there, I was freaking out. Because I didn't know what I was walking into. So first of all, I had another singles match to get into the Vacation Land Cup, and it was supposed to be against Billy Starks, which I was so excited for. I know it'll happen someday, and I can't wait for that day. Hopefully we were both healed up and 100%, because then we can really do that match justice it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had Davian, who I've seen wrestle before I even became a wrestler. And then once I became a wrestler, she had stopped. So we just missed each other. And I would see her at shows sometimes, because she's married to Gal Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
So she'd be at the shows a lot, and I would see her very often. And we'd always talk about how we want to wrestle each other. Always, always, always. Every time I saw her, I was like, I want to wrestle so bad. She's like, I will come back to wrestling to wrestle you. And then it happened where she came back and I had just gotten hurt. So we like missed each other again. But then she got put on this show where I was like wrestling kind of hurt. So I did get hurt in the match in the show before this one. I was in the Limitless Rumble for the Vacation Land Cup, and I won that opportunity. So not exactly beating 30 people to get into the Rumble, to get into the Vacation Land Cup, but essentially how that works. But I did get hurt as the final two in that match. So it was like all the fans knew that I already had put so much into getting there, getting to the show, and I felt all of that support that day, that people were just excited to root for me as like a bird with an injured wing, if you will. So I was an underdog in that sense because I was going into this match already hurt, but 4 weeks to the day I was pretty healed up, so I did my absolute best. And even though I wasn't 100%, I definitely gave 100%. Beat Davian in that match. And then wrestled on the same show in the main event against Aaron Rourke again, and Alec Price. The only person I'd never wrestled before in that four-way was Desmond Cole. But I hope, especially after being in the ring with him, I'm excited to someday have that experience. But every time I wrestle someone like that, like Alec Price, who is an amazing wrestler, Aaron Rourke, who is an amazing wrestler, and Desmond Cole, who won it all. So congratulations to him because he definitely deserves it. But it was like, I just felt so lucky and so special to be in that spot. And then I did get eliminated by Alec Price, the same way Aaron Rourke did. But that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
We definitely gave it our all. I know Aaron had gotten hurt in that show too, so we were both kind of really beat up in that main event. But that's how wrestling goes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the greatest wrestlers of all time that wrestled when they could barely walk, you know? So I just tried to keep that in mind, where I'm like, if I can walk, I can wrestle. Let's test it out. And then I still was able to carry a few of those guys and slam them.
You
so
did.
That's kind of all that happened. I'm so glad you watched that. It was such a crazy, stressful show.
Where was I? I came home and I was like, I turned on the television. I'm somewhere, and then I was like, yes. I think I was at a wrestling show in Connecticut, and then I got home just in time for the main event, and I was like, perfect. I was like, this is perfect. Yes.
That arena was beautiful.
Yeah. I would have loved to been up there.
Yeah. It was really far, but it was so worth it. And it was such a long day of travel and traffic and whatever. It took like 9 hours to get to the show. But once you're there, like, none of that matters. Yeah. And stepping into that arena and being like, I'm wrestling here today is insane.
It's like,
it felt like I was there for like AEW or like WWE or something. I was like, this is like a really big show.
Yeah. This is history being made right here, you know, which is awesome. So yeah, that's like one of my bucket lists. I got to get up to one of the Vacation Cup Land, Vacation Land Cup.
I get it now.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But that's so awesome. Yeah, you guys need to stop getting hurt. And then after that, like, you were talking a little bit about your injury and everything like that. I was watching you on your stories with your bachelorette party in Salem, and then you're sitting with the crutches and you're still doing you. So
still gotta have fun.
Definitely. So I love that. In the chat, Zach said, titles don't gotta be on the line for two champions to just go out there and kill it. If anything, it shows that you two are literally just the best of the best, high standards, and the people love y'all. So,
hell yeah.
So all right. Another thing I want to shout out, Max Smashmaster with Rad Pro Wrestling. If you guys are not watching it, you should be watching it. Max Smashmaster's been on this podcast a couple of times. We broke down Rad Pro Wrestling. It's so great what he does. So talk to us about this because, again, like I said, something special's here. I feel like you're casting perfectly for Mother Earth. So tell us, like, coming out of, like, the character of Gnomie a little bit, and now your Mother Earth.
Yeah. I mean, that show is crazy. Rad Pro is so fun. It's really cool to see all these wrestlers step into a different persona for this story, this show in the 90s. It's so cool. I haven't been there enough times because creative pro dates that tend to line up with Rad Pro dates, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd be there every show. So it was only my second time back at Rad Pro Wrestling and returning as Mother Earth. I have been placed with this faction of plant-based prophets, and they are incredible wrestlers. Love them to death. But we get so silly. We get so insanely silly with this gimmick. But it's nice to just get even deeper with my earthy self, because gnome life and Mother Earth life, they are very entwined. So it is not like out of character. I feel like it's just a powerful woman persona. It's just cast very differently, if you will. So it's very, very fun. I enjoy being a little more, I don't know what to say. It's like a little more serious, I guess. It is. Because it's like Mother Earth rules everything. So I have to be that girl. So it's very fun. I really enjoy being there, and the fans there are incredible.
I gotta get up there. That's another one. That's another one like on my bucket list that I have to make it up to. I will. I definitely will. It's worth
another
it.
One. Far but worth it. Once you get there, it's like I didn't even drive more than a minute. Like it's so fun.
Shout out to David to the chat. He goes, welcome back, Tiff. Hey, Gnomie. Zach says, yes, all hail Mother Earth. I love that. Yes, please smash that like button. We got a whole bunch of people. If you just came in now, share the stream. I know there's a whole bunch of people on Periscope watching too, so thank you. I appreciate it all. All right, can we get an update of how many gnomes do you have now?
It's about 500. Not all are here, but I do have a few very new and special ones. Let me just show you. So these are some guys I picked up this weekend at Retro World.
Oh my goodness.
They're all horror gnomes. I'll get really close.
Look at that.
I'll give a little tour real quick. Check these guys out. And like,
oh my god, it's the Beetlejuice.
Yes! Look at this guy.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
How Chucky. Like, how. Oh
Edward
my god.
Scissorhands.
Oh my goodness.
And this is one I actually made for Bear.
Aw, I love that.
One of one Savage.
Oh, so that is adorable.
If you contribute to their own custom here.
So you could like sell those at like the merch tables or whatever like that.
I would love to, but I also I'm so attached to them that it's really hard for me to do that.
No, and you make like ones like specifically just to sell. And I'm telling you, the fans will buy it.
I just like, if I see gnomes get disrespected, I will lose my mind. So if a fan bought it and cherished it, I'd be like, okay, that's absolutely fine. If someone that didn't like me bought a gnome and then like broke it in front of me, I didn't even think about that. I just think of the worst case scenario, and I'm like, especially this past week at Wrestling Open, Alley Catch legit stole a gnome that was like super valuable, and it's just set something off inside of me that I'm like, oh, I'm like a mother bear right now. Like I become like this monster. So everyone is gonna see what that's like soon. But it's very real, and I'm like, oh my god, I could never sell gnomes.
Oh man, no breaking gnomes. It was funny because like it's funny that you like say that. And like, so I found a girl who does like pens, like these cute little pens or whatever. They have like little different sayings on them, and like
I love them.
I just like bought like a whole bunch like on TikTok, and like I'm going crazy. There's a coffee one. I gotta get one for Phil. But you know, it's happened like yeah, here we go. The coffee vibes pretty much and stuff. So like you go in there in the live, right? And it was funny because I thought of you, and like she has like millions of pens or whatever like that. Like I love pens. So like she's just like showing every couple of minutes, and then you're like, you claim the pens. So after I claimed my 10 pens somebody was like, do you have any gnomes? And I was like, son of a bitch. So she came out. So the next time that I buy pens, I'm going to get some. They had all a bunch of you would went nuts.
He has no more?
They have gnome ones. So I'm going to send it to you like when she goes live again.
Oh my God.
But if I buy more, because I'm going to buy more, because like even my mother stole pens from me, and one of my other, Michelle wants my pens, so I'm gonna have to go back and order some more. So I will. I'll get some pens, but they had a whole bunch of gnome ones.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I see it. I can see it already.
Yeah.
I also have the belt that I want to show on here because I never get to pull it out.
So
Brad.
pretty. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Look how
Gorgeous
pretty.
belt.
See,
Frida Pro
I love it because
Enchant.
it's red. Red's my favorite color. So like,
Yeah,
so
cute.
pretty. So pretty.
So cool. It's got Chris Statlander's face on it too.
So cool. So neat.
So cool.
That sneak peek that we got over here, guys, on the podcast. So, since we're talking about gnomes, we have to talk about this too, because shout out to Matt Flood. I love his photo shoots. I like, shout out to the photographers out there. They bust their ass. I've had a bunch of photographers on the podcast. There's plenty more that I want to put on the podcast in
That's
the
really
future. But like your photo shoots, like, with all the gnomes, like how fun was that? Like setting up all the gnomes, like for these photos.
It was so much fun. It is a little stressful because when you bring the gnomes and have to bring them home, it's like a lot of traveling for them. But as long as everything's done safely, I'm happy. And I was just so excited to finally get pictures with my gnomes because they're in my house, but like, you can see them. Like they're all set up very nice, and then
Look at that.
So it's nice to be able to like show them, especially now that it's such a big part of my wrestling character. But everyone my whole life has known about my gnomes, and I've always been the Gnomie, basically. Now it's just that it so happens that the Gnomie is a wrestler. And so it reaches a lot more people, and I have a lot more people asking about gnomes, pictures of them, if I could do a tour of all the gnomes, which I would love to do. But it's nice to have such beautiful photos of my precious babies, basically.
Yeah. It's so fun. I was just like, oh, these are so cool. All these like photos. Every time it was like, every day, like a new photo you would like post. And I was like, oh, this is so cool.
I try to become the gnomeliest version of myself. So when I have a photo shoot, it's the gnomeliest photo shoot of all time. When I have a gnomie outfit picked out, it's the gnomeliest outfit of all time.
Yeah.
It's the gnomeliest.
That's so cool. I love that. Shout out to Periscope. We got 40 people watching live. We got a whole bunch of people in YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. So love you guys very much. Conrad says in the chat, I want Gabby Forza Ring of Honor.
I would love that.
Definitely.
It's almost happened. I'm not gonna lie. It's almost happened a few times, but then something terrible happens and I can't make it. Like getting hurt. That was so sad. Oh my god. The week I got hurt in July, I was originally supposed to fly out to Ring of Honor, and it didn't work out because I couldn't walk, so I couldn't go. I was supposed to go from Ring of Honor that weekend to my bachelorette party, fly straight to my bachelorette party and meet all my friends there, and then go on my bachelorette party, and then they would drive me home. But unfortunately, things changed. So every time I almost get there, it's like a little closer. So it's gonna happen. I
It just
promise.
hasn't been the right time. That's just what it is. It's preparing you because it's gonna be an even bigger moment for you. That's just what it is. Ring of Honor is not ready for you yet. They will be soon. Okay.
So by the time I get there, I'm gonna be so good at wrestling. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm here for that. John says, I'd be down for Gabby versus Billy. It's gonna happen. Okay? It has to happen. Like, I was so ecstatic, like, when that match was, like, announced. And then I was, like, sad that it didn't happen because I love Billy, Billy's been on this podcast. I know Billy for years, much love to her, So it's gonna happen.
The big reason, like, because people ask a lot, like, where do you want to work? I'm like, I don't know, wherever. Like, asking like I would say no to anything.
Yeah.
But specifically Ring of Honor, because there are so many wrestlers on Ring of Honor that I want to face that don't really get out on the indies. Some do, but not. It's like harder to come by.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Especially when you're at that level, you can kind of pick and choose who you want to wrestle on the indies anyway.
Yeah.
I just so lucky that one time, and then again didn't work out. But it's going to happen. It's going to be worth it. I can't wait. I'm glad other people are excited too, so thank you to anyone.
The chat's excited. Zach says Gnome of Honor. We're going to change it. Ring of Honor to Gnome of Honor. And Conrad says, I see the shirts now. Yeah.
Love it.
Money. Take my money. So you guys talk about shirts. Let's talk about the gear, because you guys know, like, I love gear. I spot it instantly when somebody's got new gear. I'm like probably one of the first ones that tweets it out at anybody. It's like, oh, someone has new gear, you know, like I'm always like the first one, you know, like I've done that even like with you. So talk to us, because it's, again, it's been a year, you know, so from like when you started to like where you are now, like how fun is that, like for you to work with someone of like bringing it to life?
Yeah. It is, having a great gear maker is so important, and it's really hard to come by. So I got so lucky with Lori from No Gimmick Gear really early on because of Creative Pro Wrestling, because she does Max Caster and Chris Statlander's gear. So I got really lucky that, like, because of that connection, and she's like, I love Chris Statlander. I'm like, that is like everything to me. I love her gear. I love the wrestling style, and even though I'm very different from her, like I'm very inspired by her. So my gear was kind of a play off some of her older gear that Lori had made. So Lori was like, oh, I made that gear, so it's easy for me to draw inspiration from that, because it's drawing inspiration from myself. And so I just, like, it's so nice to meet with her and talk with her, and she really, really gets the Gnomie gimmick, that I'm not a girl that likes gnomes. It is, I am the Gnomie. Like, my gear needs to translate that and not just be like, I think that's a gnome. It's like, no, that's definitely a gnome. That's definitely the Gnomie. Like, there's no confusion about it, because I got so lucky with a gear maker that really gets me and brings that out. Every set of gear gets gnomelier.
I love that.
Great. It's so, so, so great. And yeah, I think this past set of gear, it's more like summery, so it's got like neon colors, which is so fun. I never would have guessed that for myself. She even asked, she was like, what do you think about hot pink? I was like, I trust you. Let's see what happens. And she killed it, and I'm obsessed with it. So now I have a neon set of gear with like, I think like 8 gnomes on it.
Yeah. So
cool. And there's like butterflies and ladybugs, because it's just like all whimsical, gnomely stuff.
It's so you. It's just so, it just transitions you. Like, you know, if someone didn't know about like wrestling and they're like, okay, well, this is wrestler Gnomie, you know, it's like, you know, it just connects, you know. So, shout out to all the gear makers out there that bust their ass for all the wrestlers and everything like that, because it's just awesome. So I had to touch base about that like a little bit. So another thing I want to talk about, like, so again, a year, so much has changed. You even like teamed up with your boo thing, you know, so the goals, as I always say, you guys are goals. Like, how cool is that you get to team up with, you know, Bronson and, you know, wrestle all over the place with him?
It's been a dream and a half, because not only do I love my fiance more than anything in the world, we're 61 days away from getting married and becoming a for everything, but no one can ever take away from us that we have amazing matches already. Like, he's an amazing wrestler. Tag team wrestling is his bread and butter. It's what made him. And then there's me, that's just like a newbie wrestler that gets grouped in with this person I obviously have amazing chemistry with, and that really translates in wrestling, because we just have so much fun together. And we're both freakishly strong and crazy and so fun. So the Savage Gnomes just love to party and have the most fun in every new crowd we get to be in front of. So, like, we wrestled in front of Wrestlers Lab. We wrestled another couple, Mike Bailey and Veda Scott. Love that match. So good. It's free on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. If you didn't know. But that was like our favorite match ever. It was so crazy. Everyone's might be like their best match ever. And I was like, that's so cool. I love those two. They are so wonderful. So it's just really cool to see like where wrestling is taking me, but it's also taking us, because for Bear or Bronson, however you call him, that's my Bear forever. But Bear and I get to wrestle these other intergender teams that he's never got to do before. So for him, it's also new. And we're both learning a lot, which is crazy because he's 10 years into this. He's taught me everything I know about wrestling, and then we still get to learn something totally new together.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I just love like how supportive, and I said this the last podcast, that even like, you know, at your debut, and like he was in the back, and it was just like everybody was like going nuts for your debut, like, you know, being really loud. But even as like current, like now, like even like when you're up at Wrestling Open and he's like, you know, standing there, like you're coming out and he's taking videos of you. It's just like, I love that. Like I just, you know, that's just one of my favorite things that I just see in wrestling. Like even like trainers like watching, you know, their students, you know, being supportive, like Perry Von Bishop versus and Delmy XO. Like I always see Perry like sitting outside with like a chair watching her, you know, like I just saw Mike Skyros with Corey Jackson and Dom Freeze this weekend, like, you know, his boys. And it's just like, I love that, you know, like those are the little things that I pick up on that, you know, get me excited with wrestling, you know. Zach says Savage Gnomes are gonna rule the world. John says in the chat, Gabby, we need you at Fight Life soon. Oh my God, I have got on Frankie for that too. I'm like, Frankie, Gabby.
Yes.
It's like,
I'm booked, guys, so please keep doing that.
Just tag Frankie. Just tag him, you know, like be like, listen, make it happen. I've said it to him.
Yes.
So
definitely be like, hey, you ever hear of Gnomie? You would probably do a good job wrestling on your
All right. I got a couple of fan tweets here. All right. This one's from Graham. He goes, love the whole Wrestles Lab show in New Jersey at the end of May, but memories of the show are saddened now because of the injury to Edith Surreal, and one turned out to be unexpectedly be her last match. As a wrestler, how does something like that affect your mind in the immediate aftermath of such an event? Is that something that you can just block out? Apologies for bringing the vibe of the show down, but really interested to hear Gabby's thoughts. This is an interesting question.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, I am super new to wrestling, so I haven't, like, experiencing that was my first time experiencing that. So being in the locker room with someone that got hurt, really emotional after, it was, like, very real. And that happens all the time because, unfortunately, also as a new wrestler, I do get hurt a lot where people, you know, it's a two-man sport, so sometimes things happen. It's contact sport. People get hit when they're not expecting it sometimes. Things just happen out there, and it's always like apologize later, and you just hope that everyone gets out of it safely, because we do try to take care of each other in the ring, but again, things happen, and no one intentionally tries to hurt each other, I'm sure. Like, I don't know that specific scenario, but just speaking generally, like, it sucks when that happens. Yeah. But like any sport, as a performer but also an athlete, it's like you go out there and you are gonna give your 100%. So if that means I'm getting rocked in the face a few times, like, I know what I signed up for. I hope I get to keep my teeth. Like, like, I hope I don't break my nose, but sometimes it happens. Like, and as long as someone is sorry after, like, they didn't mean to purposely hurt you, it's always okay. As long as you're okay. Like, if you can walk away from it, we're all happy.
Yes.
But,
definitely.
Me personally, like, when I go out there, I get really, really anxious before my matches, not because I'm scared to get hurt. I just hope everything goes well. But when things go wrong, it's just also part of it. It's like the risk we take. It's like every time you drive a car, you hope you get to your destination safely. You're going to take every precaution you can. But sometimes things happen. And accidents happen, things like that. For me personally, I talked to Ben about this because he says it's like a lucha mindset, and I just have it from football where like when I suit up my shoulder pads, which I still wear for wrestling, something clicks in my brain, and it's like you have to go out there like it's your last time out.
Definitely.
So that no fear, like I don't know what's gonna happen out there. I could, the worst case scenario could happen. You don't know, but you go out there, you hope for the best, and it's like if it didn't, I really checked off in my brain. I signed a contract with myself that like if something terrible happens, I consent. Like you don't want that to happen, but
We'll put all good vibes out. So, like,
it's always the like prepare for the worst, but expect the best.
Yeah. Ah, snap. Desmond Cole's in the chat. He goes, Gabby is the absolute best fire machine.
Cool.
She wants that one-on-one. Listen,
I do.
Kono, make it happen at Remarkable. Then I can, I don't have to drive and nobody has to drive far over here.
We both don't have to drive.
Yeah. So, bother Kono, guys. Like, make it happen. Des and Gabby, I'm totally here for that match. You never know. Very, very cool.
Vacation Land Cup, that's kind of what we're talking about, too.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, we talked a little bit about you. So, thanks for popping into the chat. I missed you the other day. I know you were supposed to be at Legacy. So, I hope all's good because I know you had to pull off. All right, let's go to another fan tweet. So we got one from Good Cop, Bad Cop. He goes, pretty sure I already did an anagram question, so had to change it a little bit. With Gnomie Gabby being an anagram of big money bag, what frivolous item is Gabby buying if she were to find and unable to return a bag full of money?
Good question. Depends how much money's in the bag. Do we know how much money's in the bag?
Oh, he didn't say.
Okay. So if it's like free money, basically, I do have this thing that I would love to buy, but I won't buy, but I would love to buy. It's a car. I forgot the name of it. Like how cars, like really cool Cadillacs, Mustangs, they have like the actual like thing on the front.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
There's a gnome one. It's like $300. Imagine if you see me like pull up to a show and that, and see like camera like pans to like the gnome like pulling up, and then it's me in the driver's seat. That'd be the coolest thing ever.
What song would be playing?
I'm really big into Danzig right now, to be honest with you, which is a pretty cool vibe. If you ask me.
Jonathan's like a hood ornament. Zach says,
No means an ornament.
There you go. Zach says, if that open 10K is anything, let's go buy. It's going to be another crazy gnome. Ciara says, the gnome mobile.
Yes! Exactly!
I can see, even, all the decals and stuff on the car and everything like that. That would be fun. Can you imagine, coming out for a match with that?
I'm going to be like Matt Cardona
yeah.
out here.
I'm totally here for that.
Also my everyday life.
All right, we got another fan tweet from Dave. He goes, I know we touched a little based on this on the first interview, so for anybody that didn't watch the first interview, this is a little bit, that she'll break into a little bit. He goes, would love to hear about her background in football and what she has continued to use it from wrestling.
Yeah, that is pretty much all of my sport and athletic experience, life experience, because football is a crazy, crazy sport. And we're so lucky in America that it's like America's sport, which is so fun because it connects so many people. And it's also a really badass sport. So it's a full contact tackle football. As a linebacker specifically, it creates a certain mindset in your mind where if you are not the predator, you're the prey. So I think that has helped me in wrestling a lot, where obviously some things are planned, but ultimately when things go wrong, I have that in my mind where I'm like, I just rely on my instincts, where it is to attack the other person. And the other thing with football, as opposed to maybe a martial arts background wrestler, they're going for strikes and things like that. And I've never done those prior to wrestling. I've never thrown a punch in my life. If I was ever in altercation with someone, I would just body them and lift them up and throw them down. So, in football, that is a trained trait, trained skill, where no matter where a body is moving, I can track them and get to them and take them down. Which every wrestler has like a style, I would say. Mine is literally just picking people up and throwing them down. So it's very fun for me. I'm sure it's terrifying for the other person. But that I've been told in football that I am a very scary person, but I'm also the sweetest person you'll ever meet. So there's like a switch that happens where I'll tackle you with a smile, where like I'm having the best time doing this, but it's also like German Shepherd energy where I can hurt you or break your bones if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Unless you hurt a gnome of mine, because then I have to kill you, unfortunately. That's your own fault, but just be nice to gnomes and we're cool. Like,
I'm still waiting for the choke slam from you. Like,
I'm not that tall, girl. Like,
so like, I mean, Jalen, oh my God, Brandon, waves and curls. He did it on Bryce.
tall.
He's not tall. That's Trayvon. Jalen's small. Like, and he did it on Bryce at Wrestling Open. So we need to have a gnome choke slam because we need to enter you to, the choke slam championship.
I have to find that clip because that's hilarious.
I think it's in one of my highlights on my Instagram. I'll find it. I'll send it to you. It's the most funniest thing ever. John in the chat said the gnome rider, gnome base low rider.
I love that. There we go. Now we're cooking, everyone.
Pretty much. John says the gnome slam. Yeah, pretty much. I'm here for it. We're waiting for it. And then, Zach says you don't got to be tall to choke slam. You need the base and the power, and the Gnomie is power.
Right, my choke slam coming to you in your future.
Woohoo! Dave also wants to know, do gnomes like jam?
Yes.
I was like, okay.
Strawberry.
What?
Strawberry jam.
Oh, strawberry jam. That makes sense. Another fan tweet from Russ actually gave me a 2-part question. This one says, the first one is, where do gnomes come from?
Gnomes are born just like any other person, but they just happen to live underground mostly. And actually the hats are to help them travel underground easier.
Ooh.
So that would stay out of sight unless there's a reason they need to be seen. So in professional wrestling, my job is to be seen. And so I get to travel without my gnome, which is my gnome hat, which is pretty cool. But most hats are worn by gnomes that travel and go place to place, and you don't see them very often because they are on a mission to get where they
I love that. Well, speaking of gnome hats, shout out to Nikki because that shit was so cool that she was creating the gnome hats and show it up at shows and it lit up and stuff like that. That had to melt your heart.
It melted my heart big time. I would see little gnome party hats to big hats like these to the big mushroom hats, and it's looking out into a crowd and seeing a sea of basically proud Gnomie supporters is the coolest thing ever. But it's also just felt like I was in a forest or something. It rules. It's like a party for me.
That's so awesome. I love that. I love when the fans get all into that. I was like, that is so cute. I know that she was making the hats and people wearing them. Shout out to her. Love that.
Got to live. That was literally me living my dream. Other people, it's I got signed to WWE. I'm like, oh my god, people wore gnome hats to this show. This is awesome.
So cool. So cool. Russ so I have it on a sticky because I wrote it or whatever. So his second question is, he says, is the South Park episode with the underpants gnomes your favorite episode?
I haven't seen that one, so not say. I will say there is a lot of gnome misrepresentation in media, like Goosebumps. The gnomes are evil in that one, and maybe they are, but come on, don't paint us like that. We're not monsters. We're just cute little guys.
I love that. So now you gotta go search it up because I think he told me that it was like on YouTube. So you're gonna have to like search it up after the pod. So let's talk about like your tweet that you put out like after we shared this podcast that you said that you were gonna spill the tea and talk about a story that you haven't shared with the worst fan interaction.
Oh my god. So it was like supposed to be a compliment. That's the worst part. So they were like, oh, breaks my heart. First time this fan has ever seen me wrestle. And they're like, I love you. I think you're so awesome. I'm like, thank you so much. That's so sweet. They're like, can I pay a compliment to you? I was like, sure. I love compliments. Thank you so much in advance to the compliment. And he's like, you are so empowering for girls. And I was like, that's so nice. Thank you. And then he goes, you're a lot like Willow Nightingale, like very body positive. And I was like, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. He's like, you're kind of more like Kevin Owens as a wrestler, where like you're not a good wrestler because you look good. It's more of like Willow's too pretty to be what you are. And I was like, you are calling me ugly now, sir. So it was basically like it was like the Kevin Owens effect, where like you're an amazing wrestler, but you don't look that great. And I was like, I mean, if you're gonna compare me to Kevin Owens, I actually love Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So that's fine with me. So I did take it as a compliment in that way. But he's like, Willow's too pretty to be like for the girls, and you are more like for the girls. And I was like, sir.
Oh wow. Rude.
Tell me I'm ugly like that.
Oh my.
Compare you to Willow and Kevin Steen, but also you're like the uglier version. I'm like, and Bear was right there, and he listened to this whole like downhill slope into like a fiery dumpster fire of a compliment, and he was like, I think I have to kill this man. We have to leave. Like, I'm ready to go home now, actually. Everything went so well to this very moment.
I want to say like mean things, but I'm not. I'm gonna hold myself back because, like, you know, if I wasn't live, I would say a whole bunch of things right now, and I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to get canceled because I want to like support all the independent wrestling. But like, rude.
I wanted to support that man too, and I listened to him speak, and then after that, I regretted it, and I was like, thank God not all fans are like this. But
oh
wow.
My God. You know, and it's funny because it's like, you know, you said that, right? It's like, I remember our first podcast and I talked about that, right? Like I talked about that you are an inspiration for the little girls, and it, you know, a lot of it, like, you know, when you go to shows and you see all the kids and like how excited they get, and like even when they're messing with like the heels and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just to see that interaction with like the kids, and like even like I have a goddaughter, you know, like she just like looks up to like, you know, women wrestlers and stuff like that, and I definitely feel like you are the inspiration for like the women here you are, you know, like you are this powerhouse, you know, and it's like this is what I want in like a women's wrestler, like me, like that's what I would want to see in a women's wrestler, like powerhouse, like, you know, whatever, you know. So screw that guy. I'm mad for you. I'm mad for Bear. Like, that's rude. Oh my God. But yeah. Zach says the Lion, the Witch, and the Audacity.
It was a lot.
My God, rude.
Oh, I'm never gonna forget
shit,
that.
I'm sorry.
I compared to Willow in a nice way, and I did get compared to Kevin Steen, who's an amazing wrestler.
Yes, he's awesome.
Then it just like it got really fuzzy down there.
Oh my God. Zach says, I say this about Shannon Levangie all the time. Nobody is literally the Bailey of the indies. See, I love that. So, all right, what else do we got? So, all right, so I have one final question for you. If anybody else has anything, feel free to drop it into the chat. So again, like so much has happened within the last year, and it's like we could sit here for hours and hours and hours and talk and pick piece everything, you know. But you took time to, you know, for me to do this podcast. So, what are some goals that you see in the future for yourself?
So, my goals are pretty simple, I'd say, but not like easy. I have checked off my dream opponents like Aaron Rourke, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, but I didn't cross them off and then want to wrestle like new, like, oh, now my next opponent is like, no one replaces them. It's like I want to have a better match with each one of them. Like I got to face Willow Nightingale in a tag team match with my fiance, and she was with Rex Flawless, and we teamed up at Beyond, and it was such a cool matchup. But I'm like, I want her singles so bad. Chris Statlander I faced in a 6-man tag, and I will face her again in the 6-man tag this September. But again, like, it was so new then. I'm still pretty new now, but someday, hopefully, that singles match happens. And then Aaron Rourke, I just feel like every time I get to wrestle him, I will become a better wrestler. So those are still my dream opponents. That will maybe never change. And then I'm excited to just keep wrestling new wrestlers. Like, I hope Becca comes back, because I think on the podcast I did with you originally, she was one of my opponents, and then was out for a year. But I think I'm gonna see her soon. Hopefully, maybe, possibly. I just keep seeing her around, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope she comes back. So it reminds me of me and Davian, where like I started seeing her around more, and then she came back. So I was like, I hope that's what that means. So she's still a dream opponent for me, Becca. Where else? Oh, I still want to wrestle. Originally, I wanted to wrestle in every state I've played football, but I've actually almost already crossed that off.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that goal being checked off. And wrestling in every state, but I really want to wrestle in Texas. I want to wrestle in Chicago again. Wrestling for Dreamwave is a big goal of mine. I got to wrestle for Uprising, but they're like bigger shows than Dreamwave, so hopefully getting back out there and just keep going, keep making a name for myself in professional wrestling as an indie wrestler and having better matches. I'm really thankful for all the support I've gotten this year from fans, but also like promotions. Like the way Limitless has booked me against some amazing people like Kylie Ray, Megan Bain, Beyond Wrestling. I'm just so excited for whatever.
Yes, can't wait to see the future of what is going to, be forward for you. I still want you and Darren Hardaway. That's on my bucket list for you, because I just feel it tells the story within itself of you just, flexing the entire match. I actually begged Bryce. I'm like, Bryce, can you book this, please? Please book it. Please book it. I need to see it because I'm just gonna sit there. I'm here for it. It'd be really fun. Dave in the chat says, is there a match type that you want to try? That's a good question.
I don't know about that, because I feel like people are like, I was in like a weapons match this past weekend at AIW. Love them, because that's their whole show. It's called Wrestle Rager, and it was so fun. I had the best time. But getting hit with a chair is so unpleasant. So bad. Don't like it. Not a fan. I know some wrestlers are super into that stuff. I'm like, oh, this is not for me. So in the moment, I'm getting like hit, and I'm like, oh my god.
What are you guys doing?
That was so bad. And then I hit her back, and I wasn't good at it. So the crowd was like, oh. And I was like, I've never done this before, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I kept trying to hit her harder, and then like she got out of the ring. So I made a joke with like our beginners at Creative Pro, the other trainees I wrestle and train with. I was like, if you guys see me hitting our dummy at Cap with a chair, just mind your business this week. But other wrestling styles, I really like stipulations. Like, I did 1 2 out of 3 falls match ever. Would love to do another one of those. Maybe someday I'll be good enough to wrestle blindfolded. Like, we'll see what has in store. But the glass or the bleeding and the chairs and I would love to spear someone through a door.
Ooh.
That's a dream. Like, so like little things that I have like specific goals. Oh, I have one. Sorry, I do have one dream match. I would love the opportunity to wrestle in a weapons match if it's a gnomes only.
Ooh, gnomes only match. Let's do it.
So I would bring like a wagon to the ring with full of gnomes. Maybe the whole ring could be decorated with gnomes. Under the ring, there could be lots of gnomes.
Ooh, I can see this at Cap TV. I just see it.
So I hope it works out. You know. I tell everyone, like, there's promoters that will ask me, like, who is your dream opponent? What is your dream match? And then I'll mention, like, a dream opponent, but also I'll mention this. And they're like, oh.
I can see this match with either Aaron Rourke or like TJ Crawford. I feel like, because I feel like it would just be funny, like with TJ of him getting mad and like ripping gnomes in front of you and stuff. Like I would just see it like happen. Like yeah,
crazy.
We all need this match in our life, so we're putting it out there. Dave says a black bag full of gnomes instead of tax. It's gnomes. See, they're already creating the story for you.
Yep.
So Zach says, wouldn't a gnome only match put gnomes in danger?
That's true, but I'm also in danger, so they're like there to help me, kind of.
There you go. I love that. Actually, Zach goes, no, CPA would thrive in this match.
100%.
Yes, that's it. Make this happen.
He's gonna bring like staplers and like paper clips and stuff. Oh my god.
Yes, because I was there for his 9 to 5 match with Kennedy Copeland, and it was the most funniest thing. A pizza got delivered during the match. There was calculators. There was all sorts of stuff. So like, yeah, actually, you know what? Yes, you CPA gnomes match. I'm here for it.
100%. We just figured it out. We just
Yes, book that. Make this happen. So yeah, so you know, then the month's coming. This Saturday, you got your big match at Beyond at the FET, Music Hall. That's awesome. So tune in. I thought it was Sunday for some reason, but Saturday. But yeah, so you get to wrestle Davian again this Saturday.
It's gonna be even better.
So make sure you check on that. Anything else like you have like coming up that you want to that you can share? I know like as for.
I will be at Creative Pro Cap TV this Friday.
Me
but
too.
I'll just be there. So if you're there, say hi because I will be there for the whole show. What else? I have a debut coming up in September 14th at AXW. Hasn't been announced yet, but it's happening. And then the next Creative Pro show, which is September.
Yes. So get your tickets now.
I have a lot coming up. I'm very excited about it, but I'm not. My September schedule will be pretty light because I am getting married in October, and I am also still healing up from an injury. So we're just trying to work on self-care between.
Awesome. Well, tell everybody where they can find you. If they're not following you, they should be following you. They should be buying merch from you. I mean, I have all the links in the description anyway, but please feel free to tell everybody.
So on everything, I am the Gnomie, the THE_GNOMIE on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. You can friend me if you want, Gabby Forza.
Awesome. Buy some merch. Her link's in the description again. She has stuff at the shows. Maybe we'll have like, the. Can you imagine like you make like little gnomes and then like the paint a gnome or something like that, but it's like, and then you put it in a package. Like here. That'd be kind of cute. Whoever brings like the best like created gnome or something like that, like maybe they get like an 8x10 or something. Like that'd be kind of cool. We do like we do a lot of merch stuff here pretty much on the pod. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you being my first guest back after a couple months of me not being out. So
thank you for having me. Thank you for coming back.
Yes. So I will be back next week, guys. So the House of Strauss.
Oh,
Will
boy.
Strauss is coming on next week, so make sure you're following the Indie Wrestling Corner. He came out during the last like Creative Pro show, like he wanted to team up with you and Bear, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't go well. Vargas kind of murdered him.
Really?
So that was kind of funny. So we're gonna talk to him about that next week. Do you have any questions that you want me to ask him live on the podcast next week?
Oh my gosh. Ask him why is he such a drama king?
Ooh. Okay, so you hear it here, folks. I'm going to ask them next week live onto the podcast, so make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're following the Indie Wrestling Corner. Follow me at the Queen of the Indies on Twitter and all that fun stuff. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Welcome me back, all that stuff. Again, Gabby, you're always welcome onto this podcast. I can't wait to see where you're going to go. I'll definitely see you Friday. So, big gnome love, pretty much. So, But guys, thanks again so much. You guys know the drill. Stay safe, support independent wrestling. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.
Miserable.